All right. This week, I really want to focus on the emotions that come with being an unconventional leader. And one of those emotions is guilt. I struggle with it at times. I know a lot of my clients struggle with it a lot of the time because when you have a high performing brain and have a lot of ideas and a lot of things going on at once, it's also really easy for things to fall off the plate or for you to know how something should be or could be 100%. And the reality is, as one person, and even as I hire more and more people to assist me and help, I'm still not reaching that 100% that I know is available. And I make myself wrong for that. And I've known that and I struggle with it. I can see it in my journals all the time and so forth. But I really have to thank the gentleman that does the interviewing. His name is Steven Bartlett for Diary of a CEO because this week he sent out his newsletter and he changed the whole thing up and he said, you know what, listen, I just want to have some frank conversations about stuff that's going on in my life and what I'm seeing. And that's what I actually talk about in the blog. I'm going to highly recommend you go over and check it out so that you can click on the link so you can actually read his entire story and what he talks about. Because I'm not going to summarize it, you can't summarize it. It's really, really good. And it really speaks to that unconventional leader. This is a gentleman who's running a very large multi-million dollar company and wanting to settle down and have a family and has just gotten a fiance and he's trying to balance all this and he's definitely questioning, how do I do all of this? And in that questioning, he's really got some incredible points for an unconventional leader. I want to talk about two of them quickly, but I'm going to recommend you go to the blog. It's got a whole lot more information. This week's article is worth checking out for sure. So one of the things he talks about, and I'm just going to read what it says. It says, when I'm locked, he talks about the fact, so he has ADHD and it's of the hyper focus variety, meaning when he gets into something, he gets locked down and he is really in there and the whole world goes away. He's going to forget to eat. He's going to forget to get up and move. He is just locked in and making it happen. And so one of the things he says, when I'm locked into something, a business opportunity, a podcast recording, a problem, the rest of my life just stops existing in my head. It sounds weird, but I have to be honest, that can mean his fiance, the gym, his mom, eating, all of it gone. It's like everything gets put on mute. I don't even notice until someone unmutes it for me. He talks about his friends pointing it out and his fiance started pointing it out. He goes on to say, I've been sitting with this question about why I feel like I'm always letting someone down for about 2 weeks now and ended up going down a bit of a rabbit hole on where guilt actually comes from. Bear with me on this because it genuinely changed how I think about everything. And I'm not going to, I don't share it all because that's his story, but you can go over and read about it. It's very interesting. I also take a side note and talk about a tool that I highly recommend for anyone dyslexic or anyone that doesn't love reading, just in general. You don't have to be dyslexic. If reading's just I call it a battery drain. If it drains you and you avoid it, there's a lot of great information you don't need to avoid. I use a software called Readwise. It's wonderful. And I actually have a little video in the article. You can see how to use that if you want to, and how I take his article and drop it in there and then have it speak, and then how to highlight. So back to what Steven Bartlett is talking about. I want to go, he talks about the math. It's just not possible to give 100% to all of these things that he's thinking about, that he's doing, that he's put into motion and is making happen. That's the reality of it. But he thinks and holds himself accountable. That's the part. Holding ourselves accountable to actually providing that 100% to all of those things. And that adds up to 600%, which is junk math. I mean, we all know that. AI's definitely been teaching us about junk math. That's junk math. And so here's another great quote that I use. So when I'm on a plane feeling guilty about not being with his fiance, I don't just feel like a bad partner. I suddenly feel like a bad CEO too, and a bad friend, and someone who's let their body go. excuse me, when bad feeling infects everything. And this is how bad feelings go. They do infect everything when you do start to feel guilty. I love, by the way, how I coughed right at the part about your body. That's kind of humorous. Anyways, so this is called a guilt cluster. And it's where guilt oozes out and starts to cluster with and infect other things that it doesn't even belong on, but that's how guilt works. That's how shame and blame, that's how they work. And when they start, they just kind of go on a roll. So two important things I want to point out about the next quote that I have in there, and that is, I find it useful to name things so I can think about them clearly. I talk about this all the time with clients. It is one thing to feel uncomfortable. It's another thing to be able to say, I'm feeling this, and know that I'm feeling it. You journal about it, and you're like, It's another thing until we name it. For unconventional leaders in particular, until we name it, and you can say, oh, that's it. It floats in us, around us. It does that oozy thing until we can name it. And once we can name it, now we can manage it, work with it, know how to handle it. And that's what he does. So he actually names this for himself, and he's calling it the guilt gap. And the guilt gap is the distance between what the people and commitments in your life actually need from you and what you've convinced yourself they need from you. Do you hear the difference in that? It's what you perceive they need from you compared to what they actually need from you. So this is my challenge this week. This is what I'm encouraging you. I'm not going to go any further. Trust me, I can unpack his email for a couple of weeks, and I might. So you're going to want to tune back in and see if I do, and continue to learn from his sharing, because it's a very authentic, very real work through a lot of things that are challenges. So this guilt gap, this is about clear as kind, unclear as unkind, having conversations about what expectations are within your relationships at work, within your relationships outside of work, and in your personal life, with your friends, with your partner, with the groups and organizations you're in. What are their expectations from you? Are they realistic? And are you participating, or are you able to give at that level, and vice versa? Is that what you want to be doing? Because remember, you're only able to give 100%. That's it. Those are the total limits. And so you need to parse that out. And that is part of being a balanced, unconventional leader. That's part of regaining the power and energy that guilt, shame, and blame take from us when we give it away freely by not naming it and by not understanding how it's playing out. And so often those assumptions are the greatest thing holding us down. So if you want to explore this more, that is exactly what I work in. I am an unconventional leadership coach. I'm an international neurodiversity coach, and I'm a champion for dyslexic, ADHD, and autistic thinkers, dreamers, doers. I want to see the world turn into an amazing, amazing place. And these are the people making that change happen. I'm Georgina. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the article, check out the links, and tune back in later on. Bye now.